Hey, what is up, YouTube? It's your boy. Like, ain't no interest go, man. We don't do those. Today, we're gonna be acting on how Kevin Durant's injury makes LeBron James' fourth ring more likely. Now, if you guys don't know, I'm a Curry fan. I'm out of my gamer on the guy Curry. So, I'm going for the Warriors, man. When Kevin Durant got hurt, man, almost shed a tear, man. I posted a video on that recently, actually, and yeah, man, it's not good news. So, and this dude, Dom 2K, seemed to know what he talking about, because I watched a couple of his videos. He be speaking that knowledge to me. I'd be like, talk some more. So, we just gonna listen to what he got to say, man. Even though I hate to admit it, I think LeBron James' chances are higher. They got D-Will and Bogut. So, enough of me talking, man. Let's hear what he got to say, man. He the real one. Dom 2K. Y'all love something like this, and I don't really care. I can really talk about my dick, and y'all don't really care. Let me stop playing with y'all, man. Let me stop playing with y'all, man, for real.
What's up, NBA fans? Dom 2K on the mic, and to be honest, I have no clue what I'm actually going to title this video because I was already working on one. I had it like halfway written, and then the whole situation with Kevin Durant just kind of threw a wrench into everything that I was thinking. So I do know this video is going to be talking about Kevin Durant's injury.
Pachulia clumsy ass. I'm sorry.
James,
I don't like Pachulia.
If there was ever a time that he was going to win a fourth NBA championship, I think this would be the time. So it's going to be covering these two topics. And so, if you've been living under a rock in the last 24 hours and you didn't know, the entire NBA season potentially changed last night when Zaza Pachulia landed on Kevin Durant's knee. It was a very scary looking injury. The diagnosis, thank God, was only a grade 2 MCL sprain, which is still pretty shitty. That's a bad injury, but it's not as bad as it could have been. Because when I saw it, I was thinking all kinds of tears and he was going to be out past this season. I thought it was going to be worse than it was. However, just because the injury wasn't totally devastating, like an ACL tear, that doesn't mean that the season isn't at least changed a little bit. So that's what I'm going to be getting into here. So I'm just going to pick a solid place to start off the video. First of all, in my opinion, if you think the Warriors can win an NBA championship without Kevin Durant this season, I kind of believe that you're living in a fantasy land. I understand we've been doing all this talking about how the Warriors are so stacked and they're the most overpowered super team ever, and you can go back on my channel, I've said this myself. However, that does not mean you can take a player like Kevin Durant off the team and still have them be able to win an NBA championship. Not the way that they're built. I think the one thing that people forget about the 73-9 Warriors, what was so special about them, it wasn't necessarily that they were just, over the top with talent, because I've said before, they only had one superstar in Steph Curry. But what made them really special was that they were so deep, and the players that they had, like Barbosa and Spates and Azili, it wasn't that they were so great individually, but they had a lot of chemistry on that team. They were very deep, and they played extremely well together. So they traded that for Kevin Durant this season, and yes, they did get some good players back. Clark stepped up. JaVale McGee has been a really nice pickup. They've got David West. They made nice pickups, and they retained the most important bench pieces in Livingston and Iguodala. However, that strength in numbers is still gone. It's not there like it was last season. So it's not that the Warriors are terrible without Kevin Durant, because they're still better than most NBA teams. However, they lose that edge that they had over the rest of the league where they were just so dominant over everyone, and now they are very vulnerable to teams like the San Antonio Spurs and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Right now, and even a Rockets-Warriors playoff matchup without Kevin Durant, that would be pretty interesting. Now, luckily, Kevin Durant is out, but he's not really out for the entire season, so we're really close to the playoffs right now. I think we're only about 6 weeks out. They say that Kevin Durant is going to be reevaluated in 4 weeks, so that's pretty good, because in my estimation, I think that means that Kevin Durant is going to miss the rest of the season. I just don't see it really making sense for him to actually come back and play, when in reality, if you look at the Western Conference standings, you won't need Kevin Durant until, if they can retain the first seed, they don't necessarily need Kevin Durant until the third round when they play the San Antonio Spurs, assuming the Spurs don't get upset by somebody again. But I think that even without Kevin Durant, this Warriors team is still good enough, and they know each other well enough to beat any team except for the San Antonio Spurs, and even then they would give the Spurs a run for their money. And let's take a moment and not forget how good Steph Curry is, okay? Because I understand Stephen Curry took a backseat to Kevin Durant this season, so he isn't doing all the crazy stuff that he did last season because he really hasn't had to, and he's done a really good job adjusting so that Kevin Durant could be Kevin Durant and the Warriors could be the successful. However, without Kevin Durant, okay, I'm gonna show you guys highlights from last season. Steph Curry is a badass dude, okay?
Yeah,
I understand that NBA fans have short and selective
Not
memories,
really.
but let's not forget this is the back-to-back MVP we're talking about, the unanimous MVP. Stephen Curry can step up for the rest of this regular season. He can go back to where he was, where he didn't have to adjust to another ball-handling scorer. And yeah, the Warriors can still end up with the first seed this season.
Yeah, I think we could do
so
it. First
from what
seed.
I understand, the Warriors have
Worst
signed
case,
Matt
second
Barnes
seed.
for the rest of the season, so he can kind of step in, and they can have a little bit of depth on that small forward position while Kevin Durant is out. And that's a really interesting move, because now I'm just interested in how many technicals him and Draymond Green are going to average for the rest of the season. That's going to be fun to watch. But the other thing you have to remember about the Warriors is, again, they retained Andre Iguodala. Now, let's not go on and fool ourselves like anyone is going to replace the production of a Kevin Durant, because not only was Kevin Durant pretty much their best player this year, but he even elevated his defense. So he's a huge part of what this specific Warriors squad likes to do. However, Iguodala is no slouch, and if you slide him into the small forward position and give Curry the elevated role that he had last season, this is still they're still fine for a while. You know, they can hold off until Kevin Durant gets back. But again, I like to stress that the reason I don't think they can win a championship without him is because when they signed Kevin Durant, and you know all the adjustments that they've made to accommodate a Kevin Durant this season, this is just a different Warriors team than it was last season. It's not like you can lose him now, because this team was based around 4 All-Stars. So you have players like West, Pachulia, McGee, and Clark, but you know, these guys don't have the they don't have the chemistry that the Warriors team had last year, and they're not as deep as they were. That's a simple fact.
That's the big thing.
The other thing I worry about is a grade 2 MCL sprain. I mean, that's not a petty injury, okay? I remember Marc Gasol. I can't remember if it was a grade 2, but he had an MCL sprain as well. I believe it was last season, and he missed quite a bit of time. Now, you got to think about this. When Kevin Durant comes back, it's going to be in the playoffs, and depending on what the Warriors decide to do, it's going to be a pretty intense situation. So, say he comes back in the 3rd round against the San Antonio Spurs. That's going to be his first time playing basketball in a really long time. So I kind of tend to think that they would bring him back before then, even if it's a team that they can beat without KD. I believe that, you know, you don't want his first action to be in the Western Conference Finals off of an MCL sprain.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And the other part to that is, even when he does come back, I don't think we're going to see Kevin Durant at full strength. You know, let's not forget what an MCL sprain did to Stephen Curry last season. Now, I know you're going to immediately bring up the Blazers game, to which I'm going to respond. Look at Steph Curry in the regular season before the injuries, and look at him after that. Yes, he had the one game where he got hot in Portland after like 3 quarters or something like that. But the rest of the playoffs, it really seemed like Curry was struggling.
Yeah, that's the only reason why the Cavaliers
things
won,
that were very, very easy for him to do in the regular season. It took him a while to get to that level, and ultimately when the finals came around, he couldn't reach that level. And I look at this with Kevin Durant. It's better to have him than not to have him, but it's hard for me after seeing what happened to Curry with that. It's really hard for me to believe that he's going to come back in the playoffs 100% the same KD. And since we're talking about the playoffs and the finals and all those things, let's go ahead and transition to the Cavaliers. I'll probably have a few more things to say about the Warriors, but the important thing on the Cavaliers side is I'm not saying that LeBron is just more likely than ever now to win his 4th ring because Kevin Durant is injured. I'm saying it because of what they did before he got injured. So I'm pretty sure you guys are well aware that before Kevin Durant got injured, the huge news this week was that the Cavaliers made 2 more huge pickups in signing Deron Williams and Andrew Bogut. Of course, both of them were waived, and yeah, people went batshit crazy, and they swear to God that LeBron just got 2 more superstars, which he really didn't. All the Cavaliers were doing was trying to keep up with the Golden State Warriors. Like, one of the things that kind of drives me crazy is that we live in a society now where facts really don't matter at all. It just matters what gets said on the internet, and that just kind of gets taken as fact. So Deron Williams signs with the Cavs, Bogut signs like 2 days later, and now everyone's like, oh, LeBron needs all these stars to win, and he needs this, and he does that. Look,
I feel like the
Cavaliers,
yes,
they are a completely stacked team. As a matter of fact, from 1 to 15, they might be the best roster in the NBA as we speak, or at least the deepest roster. But the thing you got to look at is they only made those signings because they were anticipating a finals with a healthy Warriors team. And let me remind you, because we're probably not going to see it for a while, a healthy Warriors team was looking like no team could even touch them in a playoff series. So my question is, where was all this anger coming from the Cavaliers? First of all, it made sense that LeBron James wanted a backup point guard because, you know, I'm not saying he should have been crying to the media about it. I'm on record saying that. But, you know, the fact that he wanted a backup point guard, they didn't have one. Now, Dellavedova didn't play a lot in the NBA Finals last season, but a backup point guard, just somebody who can come in and just run the offense throughout the regular season so LeBron and Kyrie don't always have to be out there, that's pretty valuable. And that's especially valuable when the team you think you're going to have to play in the NBA Finals doesn't really have any flaws. Like, the only flaws they really had was big men, and I'm not even sure you can call that a flaw. So of course then they went and signed Andrew Bogut as well, which is I think that's a good signing. He obviously hasn't been that great this season, but you know, one thing you've probably noticed about the Cavaliers by now is whoever goes to the Cavaliers, they automatically have some type of impact. So Channing Frye had a great impact when he went there. J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert, Mozgov. Every player who joins the Cavaliers mid-season has some kind of impact. And at this point, I can't even explain it anymore because it seems like the Cavaliers are always able to make this season-saving signing throughout the season or some trade for like a bag of chips, and they just automatically get better. Speaking of that, they also have Kyle Korver, who is now 5th on the all-time three-pointers made list, if you didn't know that. So my point with all this is they stacked up the roster to play the Golden State Warriors this year because that was what it was looking like. Now Kevin Durant is hurt. That throws a monkey's wrench into everything because now the Cavaliers have this big bad roster that has everything you could ever want. There is no more holes in this roster. But the Golden State Warriors, we don't know that they're actually going to be in the NBA Finals anymore. And if they do get to the NBA Finals, are they going to be as good as they would have been if Kevin Durant hadn't gotten hurt? Because now you got to make all sorts of adjustments. Then you got to adjust back when Kevin Durant comes back in a month or a month and a half or whatever. You know, point being that the Cavaliers prepared for something that they're likely not going to see anymore. So let's say now that the next logical matchup, if the Warriors didn't make it, would of course be the Cavaliers and Spurs in the NBA Finals. You know, I never count the Spurs out because they're so well coached and Greg Popovich can get the most out of whoever is on that roster. I never ever count them out. But, you know, when you look at this Cavaliers roster, again, they were definitely built to handle a team that was more talented on paper than the San Antonio Spurs are. So, you know, if they meet in the NBA Finals, it would be hard for me not to pick the Cavaliers. And because the Cavaliers made all these preparations to play a Warriors team that even if they do make it to the Finals, I don't think they're going to be as good as Cleveland thought they were going to be. I think right now LeBron is more likely than ever to win his 4th NBA championship. You know, I was thinking for a while that I didn't think they stood a chance against the Warriors this season, and I was also looking at it saying for the next 4 years, this Warriors team will probably be around. And yeah, you know, this changes everything, at least for this season. This changes a lot. So if the Warriors are able to retain their 4 All-Stars, at some point Curry, KD, and the other All-Stars, they're going to win an NBA championship if they're able to stay around for a while. But this might not be the season because of what just happened, and I think that's what makes it most likely that LeBron, if he's going to win his 4th championship, 2017 is the year, I believe. If you watched my last Super Team video, this is exactly what I was talking about. Go back and watch it, and I was naming the theme where pretty much every Super Team that we've seen in the last decade, they've all fell short of their potential for some reason, and that reason is almost always because of injuries. And then here we are with the Warriors now in 2017, and it's looking like, you know, who knows if they're going to win the championship now because of injuries. So I just say all that to say that super teams are never around as long as you think they're going to be. They never do what you think they're going to do. You know, every time one of these super teams happens, we think it's going to be like a 4-peat or it's going to be like 5 or 6 championships, and it never turns out that way.
Because the super teams aren't like this super
because
team.
Of injuries. And I want to close this video out with a statement that you really should never be happy that an NBA player got injured. I know you all hate Kevin Durant with every bone in your body, but you never wish an injury on a player.
Yeah, of course.
I don't feel like you're a real NBA fan if you're happy that a player got injured. But, you know, the NBA season is definitely more interesting now. And I'm not saying that like it's a good thing, like KD's out and, yeah, the NBA is better. No, that's not what I'm saying. But there's more suspense now because, as I've said this entire video, now is to where before this video, I would definitely tell you if I was a betting man, I'm going Warriors all the way. But right now, I actually don't know because I feel like a Cavaliers Spurs finals. I feel like that's more even. I feel like that's more even of a matchup. And although I would place money on the Cavaliers in that bet, I would still sit down and watch it, and it would be very suspenseful.
What's even?
There's more suspense now. We don't know what the NBA season is going to look like now, and that is definitely a difference from when we went to bed 48 hours ago. So there's something there. Anyways, I'd love to know what you guys think now. What do you think about the injury? How do you think it affects the Warriors? And now, who do you think is going to be the 2017 NBA champions? Because I'm sure you guys probably have different opinions now. Whatever opinions you may have, put them in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed. Hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications. And I will see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.
Okay. Yes, good. Man, you guys see in the air, man. Dom 2K, Dom 2K, man. He pointed out some really good facts, really good, stuff, like the whole presentation was good, So, but I don't, I really believe that the Warriors and Cavs will play in the finals. I do think LeBron's chances are a little bit higher because they signed everybody, and Kevin Durant's hurt. He's not gonna be 100%, which would then give Cavaliers the edge. But when he was talking about like the Spurs and Cavs, like I don't think that's gonna happen because that what money is in that? How did people support the Warriors and Cavs way more than they support the Spurs? You know what I'm saying? So not trying to like knock the Spurs. I mean, right now the Warriors are hot. They're the hot thing. So everyone wants to go see them. Everyone sees the super team like, oh God. So and no other super team was like this super team. You have Curry, Clay, Draymond, Kevin. Like that's a scary four. Like what team was like that? LeBron, Wade, Bosh. That wasn't like this, man. So maybe things are different. Maybe things are not, man. Let me know what you guys think down below. Make sure you guys comment, like, and subscribe. And I'm out.